would like to look at the story of the call, why this surah is called as the call, because as I said to you that actually the main topic of the surah is relating to the story of the call, in which the people of Israel were worshipping call, because Allah actually ordered them to worship only one God. This is what the Prophet Muhammad and the Prophet Moses taught them, as well as, for instance, if you look at the Old Testament, one of the 10 commandments that were given to the people of Israel is to worship Allah, to worship His Lord only.
Yeah.
So they could not make any association with Allah. So Allah is the only one that they should worship. But they were doing sort of shirk, associating other with Allah. In fact, they were worshipping coal. That is why this surah actually was talking about this story.
So this has to do with the Prophet Musa, or Moses, peace be upon him.
Yes.
When he, after this, as we use the term Exodus, the migration out of Egypt under bondage. At some point, at least in the Old Testament, it says they started missing the ways of the Egyptian life. And they manufactured this cow to worship. And so it refers to this cow that they made.
As for instance, if you look at the story of the people of Israel, they were slaves in the Egypt 14 years, and then they were going to reach the promised land, and they were staying in Sinai 40 years as well. So I guess the story happened when in the time when they were living in Sinai lands.
I see.
But we don't have enough information about that. But the Al-Quran just told us that the people of Israel, the people of Jews, were worshipping coal.
A very interesting thing about this in the Jewish Old Testament, it says that Prophet Musa was so angry when he came down and saw this that he obliged them, he forced them to crush it into powder and to drink it. Is that true according to Islamic history? Or is that because they're...
When Allah promised Prophet Musa alayhi salam in regards to fast 40 days into the mountain of Sinai, and then when he came back, he found that the Jews were worshipping, their followers were worshipping a cow. So yeah, it's authentic in accordance to the Quran as well.
Very. All right. So now we've talked about the historical context. We've talked about some of the first few ayats, opening up the great mysteries and deep mysteries, and the reason why it has this name, cow or heifer. Where do we go from here?
We would like to deal with this verse one by one, as Brother Muhammad, Brother Mustafa.
My name changes every night.
As Brother Mustafa stated, this surah begins from the word Alif Lam Mim. So what do we mean by Alif Lam Mim? Actually, if you look at any translation of the meaning of the Holy Quran, you will not find any translation of these letters. These letters are untranslated, because actually if you look at what Islamic scholars talk about this this ayah, they said that they are individual letters. They are individual letters. We just pronounce it separately. So we cannot say, for instance, Alim or Alam, but we pronounce it separately. We say Alif Lam Mim. So what does these letters mean? If you look at what the scholars of Tafsir said about this ayah, we will find a lot of opinions regarding to this ayah. One of opinions said that this individual letter, or this disjointed letter, has no meaning. Some of them said that these individual letters have meaning, and for instance, they are relating to some names of Allah. But we don't want to look at all opinions because we don't have any time. But the strongest opinions, in my view, is that these individual letters have no meaning, but has certain purpose. What are the purpose behind these individual letters? The purpose is that these letters were trying to draw the attention of the listener or the reciter or the reader of the Quran. This is the first purpose. And the second purpose is that it is sort of to give information to the Arab people in the time that the Quran was composed in the letter that they used to speak. So Arab people speak Arabic language, and this Quran is composed with the Arabic language, but yet they even cannot produce any similarity, any books like the Quran. So it is interesting, and you will find also the Quranic verses in the Surah Al-Baqarah that is talking about the challenge of the Quran. So the Quran challenge any people to produce something like the Quran. So if you look at the history of all holy scriptures in all religion, you will find that the Quran is the only book, the holy scripture that challenge the people to produce, to make something like it. You will not find any scriptures in all religion in the world that is talking about this challenge. It means that Al-Quran is sent by God and has sort of miracle, a linguistic miracle, and so far and so on. In fact, if you look at the history of the Arab people, they could not produce any book like Quran in the time when Al-Quran was revealed.
And like we have heard so many lecturers talk about, the Quran was, as Sheikh Ahmed Deedat often said, a one-man job. As opposed to the Bible used by the church, it's actually, as he describes it, a miniature encyclopedia of many books, 66 books.
Yes, the more interesting thing that you can look at from the Quran, Al-Quran has only one author. The author is not the Prophet Muhammad, but the author is Allah Himself. But if you look at the Bible, for instance, the Bible is divided into Old Testament and New Testament, and there are many authors. It's not, Bible doesn't have only one author.
That's right. And also written over thousands of years.
But the Quran is not like that. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And I really like what you said. I mean, whenever I read the Holy Quran and you know, you start many of the surahs with Alif, Lam, Mim, or some other 3 letters, or in some cases it's 4 letters, I think. But in any case,
yes, and sometimes only one. For instance, Surah Qaf, only one letter.
And Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad. You'll find in Surah Maryam as well.
I just read that, you know, the mysteries are with Allah, the meanings are with Allah, and I left it at that. I never really pondered until, so I really appreciate these very interesting views about the meaning, the potential meanings.
And actually, the Mufassirun, or the scholars of interpretation of the Holy Quran, they finally say that Allah only someone who knows about its meaning. But it has purpose. The purpose is to draw attention to the reader, to the reciter, to the listener about something that will be going on. So we would like to look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said after Allah mentioning Alif Lam Mim, because there must be something great behind mentioning Alif Lam Mim. So, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. this is book that there is no job in it. So if you look at ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, it's very interesting because Al-Kitab, the book, the scripture, is Al-Quran itself. So you should not job, you should believe that this book, that is Al-Quran, was revealed and sent by Allah to the Prophet Muhammad. You as someone who is believe, who believe, you should not have any job that this is book come from the Allah and it was sent to the Prophet Muhammad.